Right, so I'm Laurie from DR Boxing Weekly, and with me I've got my guys here, and there's only one story in town to talk about at the moment. Canelo Alvarez. Yes, Canelo, the so-called face of boxing. He's announced that he will be fighting in September, and it will be against a Charlo, but not Jamal Charlo. It's been announced that he'll be fighting Jamel Charlo, his twin brother. Now, before I say anything, let's just get straight into it. Let's start with Shane, because he was the man who broke the news to me. Shane, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when I first heard, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw it on Canelo's Instagram page. And I'm thinking they're twins. Jamel and Jamal are twins. So I'm scrolling down and I'm like, why does Jamal have all these belts? Jamal only has one belt at 160. Then I actually read and the tag was Jamel Charlo. I was like, what? Jamel Charlo fighting Canelo. And for those who don't know, Jamel Charlo is the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. Canelo is two weight classes above him. Jamel Charlo has never fought at 160, much less 168 pounds. So he's going up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. And immediately I saw the hypocrisy, because he did not want to go up 2 weight classes to fight Barry Jack, but he wants to bring Jamel Charlo up 2 weight classes to fight him. He has not fought the best available opponent. For me, this is just horrible. And I know people in the comments are going to be like, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I know, I'm just saying.
Your truth.
I am. People are going to be saying that we don't know what we're talking about. But all I want to ask you is Canelo fighting the best available opponent? That's what I'm leaving with.
Let's ask James.
They're going to tell you don't know what you're talking about for 2 simple reasons. Number 1, you don't know what you're talking about. Number 2, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, first of all, comparing him, trying to go up and fight Badu Jack, he is the A side of the fight. As you were talking about before when we did the Clarissa Shields thing, when you are the A side, when you are the dominant party, you can make the rules. You can make people come up and fight you. You can make people come down and fight. You're damn right, mate. When you earn yourself to be in that position, you make the rules. It's as simple as that. You bring the bread, you make the money.
Is he fighting the best available opponent?
No, I want to see him in there with Dimitri Bivol. Yeah, I'm not denying that. But what can the man do? You're just slating him unjustly.
Can I ask you a question to use one of Shane's phrases? Are you happy with the way boxing's going like that? Is that what you want to see? You're quite happy because he's the so-called face of boxing, for him to pick and choose his opponents and just basically tear up the rule book and do what he likes.
Not happy, no. I've said this is a big problem for a very long time with boxing. Boxing has too many associations, too many promoters. There's not one guy making the rule. There's not one guy forcing someone to fight whoever is the best in his weight class and who he should be fighting, and saying, if you don't go and fight Benavidez, if you don't go and fight Dimitri Bivol, well, we're going to strip you of that title. That's who the onus should be on. The onus is not on Canelo to strip himself of the titles. Canelo can do what he wants. Canelo can take the slightly easier fights for more money.
Though, what he's doing?
Whether it's honourable or not, there is no honour amongst thieves, and there is and fighters. It's a brutal sport. The guy, I don't know why I said thieves. That's a bit of a wrong analogy, but he has put himself through so many trials and tribulations to get himself to that point. If he wants to take slightly easier fights for more money, protect his health, protect his family, then I'm not adverse to do that. Look, maybe he doesn't want to fight people that came from his nation. That's fair enough.
Do everything you said there. Give up the belts and do exhibitions.
It's not his fault.
Let's bring in the voice
it's not him to do that.
Let's bring in the voice of reason, Nick Francis.
Would you be happy with Tyson Fury not fighting Anthony Joshua?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so you do have a problem with people not fighting other people.
Tyson Fury hasn't done what Canelo has.
So I'm just saying. So you have a problem. So you wouldn't accept from Tyson Fury, I don't want to fight other British fighters. You wouldn't accept that as an excuse. Canelo is not only not fighting the hardest fight, fair enough. He's not fighting the second hardest fight, or the third hardest fight, or the fourth hardest fight. This would be like Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury, one of these guys, going and grabbing a cruiserweight,
light heavyweight.
That would be like Tyson Fury going and fighting Anthony Yard or someone like that.
Bivol.
Yeah, getting Bivol to come up to. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like,
that is exactly what he's done.
That's a wild comparison.
It's the same comparison.
It's exactly the same
comparison. It's the same comparison. So this he's not operating with any level of integrity. We had a conversation before on one of our shows where you said you were happy for them, any of these fighters, Ryan Garcia, whoever, to take the Venn diagram of the easiest fights for the most money. this fight isn't even necessarily the most money. There are actually bigger money fights out there. So it doesn't make sense
to me, he signed that 3-fight deal in it. So this is the first fight of
the three
So
fights.
the money would be the same, to be honest.
But before he signed that deal, there would be people out there that could have garnered more money.
But right, okay.
Absolutely,
Can I just
absolutely.
come in here? I want to know this from not just you guys, but everyone out there. Why can't we get the Benavidez fight? I mean, why are we doing this? I mean, why is one man allowed to just cherry pick, navigate his way through the divisions like this, picking and choosing who he fights? It's just.
He wants to support certain countries.
I would preface that by saying it's not just one man. We see Tyson Fury do the same thing.
Of course.
Very, very similar
Yeah, but
things.
we're not talking about Tyson Fury.
Canelo is the worst defender of this.
With
type
respect,
By
I don't
far.
wanna
I know,
digress onto
but I'm just
Tyson
saying,
Fury.
yeah.
We're talking
No,
about
the only
Canelo.
difference I would say with that is Canelo has already fought everyone.
No, he
He's
hasn't.
already done the
No,
unthinkable.
no, he
He's
hasn't.
already
No, he
dared
hasn't.
to
No,
be
he hasn't.
great.
No, he hasn't.
Who won the fight between him and Demetrius Andrade?
Look, he's gone up.
Who won that
He's
fight?
Fought, look,
Just answer me the question.
Forget
won the
your
fight
questions,
between him
mate.
and
Don't
Demetrius
try
Andrade?
and skew this.
Okay.
My point.
Never fought.
He's gone up. He's fought Bivol when he didn't have to. He dared to be great. He
No.
fought Floyd Mayweather at a very young age. He dared to be great. He's gone up numerous weight classes, carried his weight, and he's done it throughout his entire life. He has established himself as an all-time great. He is able to put himself in the position to do whatever he wants to do.
Let me correct you, and Laurie's definitely going to agree with this. The only reason why he fought Bivol is because he saw Bivol look bad against Craig Richards.
That's true.
When he moved to 175 the first time, he did not fight Bivol. He fought a Kovalev who looked bad against Anthony Yard. Do you not see the trend that you're seeing? We are seeing someone. When was the last time? This is a genuine question. When was the last time you saw Canelo fight someone who looked good in their last
Or even a
last
prime
fight?
fighter. When is the last time you saw him fight anybody in their prime?
I genuinely believe, I give him credit for the Caleb Plant win, I give him credit for the Callum Smith win, and I give him credit for all the wins he has at 154. When he was at 154, he was an animal. He fought Eric Stanley Lara, Austin Trout, Cotto. He fought a lot
Do you
of
want me
good
to answer
fighters.
your question now?
Huh?
Billy Joe Saunders.
Billy Joe, okay, who was Billy Joe Saunders' last fight before he fought Canelo? I know it. Martin Murray. He did not look good in that fight. So what are you talking about? He looked horrible in that fight.
If I could just say as well, though, it's kind of weird me saying this, but I guess it is true. The only thing I can say for this latest announcement is Jamel Charlo is actually a better choice of an opponent
Then
than
Jamal.
his brother.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
No,
He's choosing the harder fight.
He is technically, but that's only because Jamal Charlo
What an
is on
honourable
his
man.
absolute knees, going through personal problems. He's not fought for 2 years. He's just a mess right now. So that was a ridiculous choice of opponent. Him selecting Jamel, whilst slightly better, is still not what I wanted to see. Far from it. I want to see him take on Benavidez. Why can't we get that fight?
Benavidez.
No, I agree with you. I want to see the Bivol fight more than I want to see that, but I would also very much like to see the Benavidez fight. But it's a big problem that has existed in boxing for a long time. As I said, too many different promoters. He is. You could argue he's part of the problem.
I am arguing he's part
But it's the same way. There's a lot of problems with the tax system. And a lot of multi-billionaires use their way around it because they're in their position. No, a lot of multi-billionaires
Don't drop in the
will
shoulder,
use their way to evade tax legally because there's loopholes there.
Why
There's
don't you
loopholes
criticise
in the
him? Just
there's
criticise
loopholes in the boxing
Yeah,
system,
but,
and Canelo, like
okay.
everyone else before him,
There's
is using
loopholes,
those
but like
loopholes.
Shane says, why won't you be critical of it?
Critical, be critical.
Because you're critical of lots of other things in boxing.
Because look, I think he
So why
needs
can't
time
you
to
call it out
he needs
for
time
what
to
it is?
rebuild himself. He went up. He
I'm
dared
so
to be
done.
great against
Rebuild
Dimitri
himself.
Bivol. He went
He's in the
against
twilight of
Dimitri.
his career.
He went against Dimitri Bivol. He dared to be great. He
How did
fell
you-
short.
How did he look against John Ryder?
Look, well, not amazing. I can't lie to you. Like I said, his physique looked a little bit off.
He was class at
struggle to get him out
154 and
there.
cleaned up most of the food there. Went to
Literally.
At 168, there's so much
Food left
there's
on
so
the
much
table.
left. So when you say he went to 175,
So much beef left on the table.
There's so many fighters at 168 he never fought.
So many fighters.
Where I would agree with you in the loopholes thing is that when you got organisations like the WBC who effectively give Canelo carte blanche to do what he wants, this is what you get.
Facts.
So yes, you
Facts.
are right in a way. The way there is absolutely the gross dereliction of the governing bodies has enabled people like Canelo to just do what he wants, and that's what he's doing. But you've got to admit, man, it's to the detriment of boxing. I mean, let me just point out, so he's having this fight with Jamel Charlo. So that means Tim Tszyu gets screwed because he was supposed to fight Jermell Charlo. He's worked himself very favorably into the number 1 position, looked very impressive doing so, string of knockout wins, fought the other day, blitzed the guy. Everyone's looking forward to the Jermell Charlo fight. Now he wakes up in Australia the other day to find out that the guy he's supposed to fight for the titles, the undisputed titles at that, is taking a fight with Canelo. Yeah? And then you've got to look at Benavidez. He's waiting in line for a shot at the undisputed super middleweight title, and now he's finding out that the super middleweight champion is going to be fighting the junior middleweight champion. What I call a double duck. It's just not good for the sport, bro. Come on. You
No,
gotta see it.
I do agree with you
And this
on
guy's
that
just
point.
riding roughshod over the whole
I'm just saying
sport,
people are
and it's
being
bad.
very harsh on Canelo.
They're
I think
not.
he's the
They're not
least
being
person
harsh.
to be
No,
harsh on.
listen, if he wants those fights, right, fine. Give up the belts and let
But that's
the
not
people
on him
in line
to do it.
fight.
It's on the commissions to do it.
But
This, how many fights have we seen throughout the years that should have happened, that didn't, or that
hold on.
happened at the wrong time?
What do you say to that? If all he wants is money, right, and he wants to go down his own route for his own legacy, fine. Give up the belts. You can still have those fights, but let people like Tim Tszyu and people like that and David Benavidez, let them go on and become under. You're slowing up the division.
Unfortunately,
James, one thing. Canelo lost to Floyd Mayweather very early on in his career, so he didn't have an own
24 years
To
old.
protect. No.
Yeah? So you think he's a pound for pound great. There was a period of time where he was the number 1 salesperson in the sport.
Probably still is.
Still top 3 salespeople in the sport. If he were to give up the belts and dance around all the different divisions whenever he wanted and go and fight these different people whenever he wanted without the belts, how much detriment would that be to his career? Because I don't think it would be that detrimental to his career because
No,
he's the biggest
it
draw
wouldn't.
and he doesn't even have an
I'll
oath
tell
to
you-
protect.
I'll tell you the difference. Not the biggest. He will nowhere near be the biggest draw if he relinquishes the belts, because those fights that he's having all of a sudden lose a hell of a lot of value, because the value is not just Canelo being in the fight, but it's also the belts being up for grabs.
No.
It's a double factor.
No,
If you
can
take
I
that away
bring
from
it
him,
up?
it takes shine away from him, and it's going to hurt his wallet. If you hurt his wallet, you're going to hurt.
What do you say to my suggestion that he should give up the belts?
I'm saying it's not on him because it's going to affect his
No, but it is
financial
on him.
situation. No, it's
He
not.
could give up the
You're
belts.
asking him to sacrifice like half his money.
James, you brought up the
Won't be
belt
hard.
situation, so let's talk about the belts. It's at 168 pounds. When he was fighting Badu Jack, he asked Badu Jack to come down a weight. Is he going to be coming down a weight? We all know the answer, but it's just a rhetorical question. Is he going to be coming down a weight to fight Jermell Charlo? No, he's fighting him at full weight.
he's younger than Badu Jack.
468 pounds. For me, that is a clear case of hypocrisy.
And how
Clear
can
case of
Jermell
hypocrisy.
Charlo be seriously like fighting for the undisputed, not just a version of the title?
Undisputed.
He's fighting for all 4 belts. He's never fought at that weight before. He's jumping up 2 weight classes. He's skipping over the likes of people like David Benavidez and David Morrell. another
Caleb
guy
Plant.
It's just unfair in every single way. And listen, I know boxing's got a reputation for being lawless, for doing what it wants, but it just makes the sport look stupid, bro.
It is,
It
but
really
it's
does.
not on Canelo to
It is on
sacrifice his
Canelo.
own. No, it's
because
not on Canelo.
He could accept fights that are worthy of him being the champion.
Has Canelo done a hell of a lot
Why
for the
won't he
sport
fight
of boxing?
Benavidez? You've not answered my question.
Okay.
Why won't he fight Benavidez? I'm asking you a
okay,
question.
no, okay.
Why
and
won't he fight Benavidez?
look, whether he has problems with fighting people from certain
Listen,
countries, that's his
I'm
own
asking you a
prerogative.
direct question. You're representing
I'm not in his
Canelo
head.
right now.
I'm not representing
You're
him.
sticking up for him.
Yeah.
Why do you think he doesn't want to fight Benavidez?
I think he wants to warm himself up for Benavidez. But I will flip that into this. Is him
Do
not
you realise how
fighting?
you're making yourself look right now?
Is him not fighting Bivol or Benavidez? You're saying it's to the detriment of
realise
the
how
sport.
much
No,
you're
no,
making
no.
yourself
I
look
answered
right?
your question.
Go on.
You answer mine.
What?
You're saying him ducking and cherry picking fights is to the detriment of the sport.
Of course it
is. That's a fair argument. Is that more detrimental to the sport than all of the beneficial things he's done for the sport?
Yes,
in
yes.
his
I'll tell
life?
you why.
Yes, it
Is
is.
that
I'll
of
tell you
more
why.
of a detriment?
Yeah.
Does
I'll
that
tell you why. I'll tell
counteract
you
all
why
the good
before I
things
bring
he's done
Shane
for it in his life?
I'll tell you why I think, because it's undermining the integrity of the sport.
Many people have. The
It's
sport,
undermining
the commissions undermine
and
the
I would add
integrity
on
of
that
it.
is that if you call in this guy, people like you, the face of boxing, and that is what you're projecting to the world, a sport where a guy can just avoid the better fighters
And
cherry
cherry
pick other guys coming up in weight, coming down in weight. It just makes a
Well, I
mockery.
actually think the face
It
is
makes a
AJ or
mockery
Fury,
of the
but-
sport. Shane.
He's supposed to be the beacon of boxing
That's
for
right.
us. He's the face of boxing. He's supposed to be the beacon of boxing. This is what it is to be a successful world champion. And let's keep it real. By my standards, the best world champions fight the best available opponent. So when you ask me who, I'll give you an example, Inoue. He's about to fight Fulton at a weight class above him. I cleaned out the weight class. Let me move up and fight the best available opponent.
And
That's
I'll say-
what
and I'll say-
champions
I agree,
do.
I agree 100% there, and I like that analogy with Inoue, yeah. And what I would say, I said this earlier, and you guys jump in if you think I'm wrong. If Canelo does not want to abide by that type of thing and be a real champion, then there's one option: give up the belts, go into semi-retirement, or do exhibitions like what
But
Floyd's
we
doing.
see champions relinquish belts at a weight class to move up a weight class and fight for their belts
All
all
the
the
time.
time.
All the time.
If you
All the
really
time.
believe that you can do that at 175, then you don't have to hold on to the belts. That's called hostage.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the likes of Tim
matter.
Tszyu, who spent his lifetime working his way into this position to fight Charlo, he's just been screwed, just like that.
He
so
has, but
those
it's not on-
decisions of Canelo are affecting other people now as well.
But it's not on Canelo. That's what I'm saying, man. It's
Bro,
on the
it
commissions.
is.
It's
It is.
on the people of
It-
power.
all the
He
other-
Canelo
selected
is
the
a man.
fights.
Canelo is a man
Canelo
fighting
selected
for himself.
the fight. It is Canelo.
If Canelo gets knocked
Oh my
out, if
gosh.
Canelo gets knocked out and rendered unconscious,
James,
none of these
James,
people are going to be there to
James,
support him.
Canelo selected the fight,
Wait,
so
to
it
that
is on
point,
him.
one
No,
second.
it's not, because
1 second.
you want him to protect the integrity of boxing for the fans. Those same fans that if Canelo gets rendered unconscious, he's seriously
One
damaged.
second, one
If he
second.
can't provide for his
that
family, what are those fans going to do for him?
He's one of the
Those
richest
fans are
people in
going to
the
do
world.
nothing
Does
for
he
him if
provide
he
for his
has
family? One
bad
second.
health
Canelo
conditions.
selected the
It's
opponent.
not on him to do
One-
that. It's
one
on the
second.
commissions. It's on the people that are paid to
You're
keep the
hiding
integrity
behind
of the
him.
sport. It
You're
is not on
hiding.
Canelo Alvarez.
And what you're saying then about he's building his way up to Benavidez, if he has even a competitive fight against Charlo, or if he has a struggle against Charlo, if he loses against Charlo, he look like he's on the slide. If he struggles in his next two fights, do you really think, even if he wins or gets a majority decision, split decision, something like that, do you think really in that third fight he still takes Benavidez? I would
don't
lay
know.
you good odds he doesn't take him in that third fight.
Probably not. Probably not.
So then we'll never
And
see it.
Even if you want to
not.
say that it's on the
Unfortunately.
commissions and all of that stuff, he still doesn't have a mindset of a champion. Because
course
guess
he
let me
does.
explain. Let me explain.
right.
Let me
You know
explain.
he's right.
Let me
It's
explain.
154.
Let me
You know he's
explain.
right.
Let me
You
explain.
know he's right.
Devin Haney, he wasn't forced to fight Lomachenko, but he chose Lomachenko because he was the best available opponent. That's what champions do. That's what champions do. You
Was
fight an
Canelo
available
forced to
opponent.
fight Mayweather at a young age?
No.
But he chose to fight him.
I said
That's
he was,
at
he was a
154.
great at 154.
154.
Yeah, but he's
said
still
that.
a great champion then. You
He
said he
still
doesn't have the
avoided
mentality of a
Andre at 154,
champion.
But I know, but I'm just saying.
Still avoided
I
Andre
know,
at
but I'm just
154.
saying
He was
now.
greater at 154 than he is now.
Oh, that's what I'm
No,
saying.
but okay, forget the 154. Let's relocate to the present day. I'm still wanting to hear from you. Why won't he fight Benavidez? You've not given me a valid reason.
There isn't one.
There we go. That's the video.
Because
Thanks
the
for joining us,
sport's
guys.
broken.
Thank you.
Taking us 20 plus minutes.
Well, let's get out of him.
Thank you. We got there in the
No,
end.
no, I'm not agreeing with you.
You
I
are
disagree with you.
We
No.
That comment
I'm
pretty
agreeing
much
with you.
says
No,
it
my
all.
point
I'm
is
agreeing with you.
he can choose to do that
We
because
got
he
there in
has
the
the
end.
power.
We got there
He
in the
doesn't
end.
have to. He doesn't have to.
He-
That's
Cut
why.
his mic
No, that's
off,
why.
man.
I-
Cut his mic
and
off.
that is so intuitive, you know. Even you, that's gone out on a limb for Canelo, were not able to answer that question.
Because he doesn't have to.
The spurious nonsense about
Alright,
not
because
fighting
he
Mexican
doesn't have to,
fighters,
that's why.
When you look at his record and he's fought about half a dozen Mexican fighters, it all just doesn't
I
add
wouldn't
up.
give that argument myself, but he doesn't have to.
And I would say as well, in closing, we're going to wrap this up soon. Do I hate on Canelo as a fighter? No, because he's a very, very good fighter.
said he's
Some
not a
would say
champion.
Great fighter.
So he's not
He's
got
not
the...
training the mindset
But
of a
I
champion.
agree with Shane. He's undermining the sport. He's debasing the sport, man. He's not showing the sport any integrity. And as Shane very eloquently puts it, he's not showing the mindset of a champion.
Best
and if you're
available
not going to
opponent.
do that, then give up the championship belts and let the likes of Benavidez and Tim Tszyu and people like that fight for them. Right, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to give you the right to reply. Shane, in closing.
Yeah, man. I can't agree. I couldn't agree more with you. If you're not fighting the best available opponent, I will criticize you no matter who you are. And I know some people say, "Oh, you're just saying it's Canelo." Inoue is showing us how a champion should behave. That's what Inoue is doing right now. That's how a champion should behave. Canelo, if you're watching, do what Inoue is doing.
If Tyson Fury's next fight is not
No. I don't want to talk about Tyson Fury. I want to keep it to Canelo.
I'm saying, if one of these guys, a cherry pick, is picking someone that's weaker in your division when there's better fights, more competitive fights out there, picking someone that's 2 weight classes below is beyond a cherry pick. We've gone even further than cherry picking. So if you think of any champion that you want and think about who their next fight would be, and think about if they chose someone 2 weight classes below them and way down the pecking order, and that says all they have to say. I've said everything I need to say on that topic.
Okay, before I bring you in, because I'm going to let you finish, give you the right reply. I agree with Shane, and like I said before, I think it's just poor all round, man. It's poor on so many levels, and I just think that Canelo, great fighter he has been and still is. If you're not gonna have the mindset of a champion and defend the belts against the right people, give up the belts, bro. You can go and do your exhibitions and your so-called legacy fights and your fights for money. You can still do all that, but give up the belts. Right, now it's time for you.
As a fan, I understand what you guys are saying as a fan of the sport. I would love it to be like the UFC, where you have 1 belt for each weight division and you have to fight whoever's in that weight division, whoever the best is. And if you don't, you're stripped of the belt, you're stripped of things. I would love it if that's the way it was and we got to see more big fights. Unfortunately, that's not the way the sport is run. He is an employee of the sport. You're asking Canelo to be a beacon of light, to sacrifice his own personal needs for the benefit of the sport. But if he did not graft the way he did, if he was not as fortunate or as successful as he was, this ruthless sport of boxing would have chewed him up and spat him out. So you want to give him the courtesy that they wouldn't have done for him if he wasn't so successful. Just because he has got himself into this privileged position does not mean that he has to. It would be very honorable of him to do that and to honor it, but he doesn't have to, because he's earned the right to do what he needs to do for his family and for his health. It's a ruthless sport.
Okay, there you have it. A cross-section of opinion there.
I hope he loses as well.
Myself, Shane and Nick, very firmly of the belief that it's cherry picking and ducking of the worst kind. Yes, Jermell Charlo is a better opponent than Jamal. I'll give him that. But even so, bro, it stinks to high heaven. The fact that you've got legitimate contenders at super middleweight, you're ducking them to fight a guy that's 2 weight divisions below. And at the same time, guys like Sim Tszyu, who, as I said before, has worked himself into this position by fighting all his contenders, knocking them out, being impressive. He wakes up now to find that Canelo's going to fight a junior middleweight. It stinks, bro. But listen, it's opinions. You said he's earned the right to do what he wants. Maybe there's some of you out there that feel the same way as James. Let us know what you think in the comments. We think what we think. James sees what he thinks. What do you think? We're out. Take care. Like, share, subscribe. And we'll see you soon.